So, you were saying you wanted to learn more about managing your money.
Yeah.
Well, we're diving into Rich Dad, Poor Dad today
Okay.
by Robert Kiyosaki.
Right.
Have you heard of this one?
Yeah, I've heard of it, but I haven't read it.
It's gotten pretty popular. It's a book that's kind of kicked off all these arguments about money and how to get rich,
All right.
how to build your wealth.
Right.
So Kiyosaki, he uses his own life as an example to kind of challenge the way we normally think about money.
Okay.
He had these two father figures growing up, his actual dad, the poor dad,
Right.
and then his best friend's dad, who he calls Rich Dad.
Interesting.
Yeah, so you have these two dads with completely different ways of looking at things.
Two dads, two perspectives.
Exactly. Poor dad, even with a great education.
Yeah.
He always seemed to be struggling with money.
Oh.
Rich dad, he built his own business,
Yeah.
and it was really successful. So Kiyosaki basically uses their different points of view to question all the things we're taught about money,
Okay.
like what we learned from our parents,
Makes sense.
What I found really interesting was how their mindsets, actually played out in their lives in what they did.
Oh, yeah. How did that go?
Well, Rich Dad, he was always investing in things like real estate.
Uh-huh.
And Poor Dad, he was more focused on climbing that corporate ladder.
Oh, so getting promotions and raises?
Yeah, exactly. And you can see how those different paths led to completely different outcomes with their money.
Yeah, totally different financial situations.
Totally. And it all comes down to one of the main ideas in the book.
What's that?
The difference between what an asset is and what a liability is.
Okay.
It's not just about how much you're earning.
Right.
It's more about how you use that money you earn.
I see.
Kiyosaki has this really simple way of defining it.
How does he put it?
He says, assets put money in your pocket,
Okay.
and liabilities, they take money out.
That makes sense.
Think about rental income from a property. That's an asset.
Oh, yeah, you're making money from that.
But then things like car payments every month or
Yeah.
those credit card bills.
Those are taking money away from you.
Exactly. Those are liabilities.
That's about the flow of the money.
Right, cash flow.
Got it.
This makes me think about my student loans. That's a huge liability I'm dealing with.
Oh, yeah. Student loans can be tough.
How would Kiyosaki's ideas even help me with something like that?
That's a really good question.
I feel like I'm just stuck.
Well, he would probably say to concentrate on building assets, assets that will help you overcome that liability.
So not just focusing on getting rid of the debt.
Right. Think bigger.
Okay.
Think about your education and skills.
Yeah.
Could those be used to earn money outside of your job?
Maybe like a side hustle or something.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe investing in developing yourself professionally even more.
That's really interesting. I never thought of it like that.
It's not about erasing the debt. It's about building a system where the assets have more power than your liabilities.
So flipping the whole situation.
Exactly. And this brings us to one of Kiyosaki's really big ideas, the rat race.
The rat race.
You know that cycle so many of us find ourselves trapped in?
Uh-huh.
You work to get money.
Right.
You pay your bills.
Yeah. Oh.
You buy things you think are assets, but they're actually liabilities.
Oh, okay.
And then you got to work even harder just to make more money.
Wow. I can totally relate to that feeling.
Right.
I used to think getting a bigger paycheck was the answer.
Yeah.
But then it just leads to more spending, a nicer place to live.
Yep.
You want those fancy gadgets. And suddenly you're right back where you started on that treadmill.
Exactly. It's like you never get ahead.
So how do you get off that treadmill then?
Kiyosaki says the way to break free from the rat race is to start thinking about your own business.
Even if you have a regular job.
Even then, it's about building up that asset column and creating income that doesn't depend on your job.
Multiple streams of income.
Yeah, like that.
He uses Ray Kroc as an example, the guy who built McDonald's.
Oh.
But Kroc wasn't just thinking about selling burgers.
Really?
He realized the land under those McDonald's, the real estate, that was the real asset.
Oh, wow.
And that became a huge source of wealth.
That's pretty smart.
Yeah, that's insightful.
So Kiyosaki invested a lot in real estate himself and also in some smaller companies. But what's really important is what he says about passion.
Okay.
You have to find something that you really understand, something you believe in.
Okay.
And let that guide your investments.
So it's not just about the money.
Right. It shouldn't be just about chasing after the biggest profits.
It should be about something you care about.
Exactly. It should be about aligning your money with what you're actually interested in.
I like that.
It makes it more meaningful,
So where do corporations fit into all of this? Kiyosaki seems to have some pretty strong views about how rich people use corporations.
Ah, This is where things get a little controversial.
Oh, right.
He says the wealthy don't just pay more taxes. They use corporations strategically
Okay.
to legally lower the amount of taxes they have to pay.
So it's not about avoiding taxes altogether.
No, not at all.
It's more like understanding the rules and then using them in a smart way
Exactly.
to your advantage.
Right. And Kiyosaki reminds us that income tax was originally meant for the rich,
Oh, really?
but it's ended up having a big impact on the middle class too.
Wow.
His point is that understanding how money works, being financially literate, that's crucial.
I see.
We need to get these strategies so we're not just working for money,
Right.
but so we can make our money work for us.
Point. That's a really good point.
It's about taking control,
Yeah.
instead of just letting things happen to you.
That makes a lot of sense.
So you're not just stuck in that rat race.
Right. Breaking free.
Except
So financial literacy is key.
definitely.
But it feels like there's just so much to learn.
Yeah.
Like, where do you even start with all of this?
Well, Kiyosaki actually, he lays out these 10 steps
Okay.
for developing what he calls your financial genius.
Financial genius.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's about changing how you think about money
Mm-hmm.
and taking control of your money future.
Okay, so it's like a mindset shift.
Yeah, exactly.
And one of the most important steps he talks about is finding your why.
Your why.
Yeah, like a reason that really motivates you to actually achieve financial freedom.
That makes sense. If you don't have a strong purpose, it's easy to get distracted or give up when things get tough.
Mm-hmm.
He actually compares it to like an Olympic swimmer,
Okay.
pushing through those really hard training sessions
Yeah.
to achieve their dream.
So it's like having that level of commitment.
Yeah, you need that drive that keeps you going.
And he also talks about choosing your friends carefully.
Oh, yeah?
I'm guessing he doesn't mean like being snobby about who you're friends with,
No, not at all.
but it's more about the influence people have on us.
Right.
Yeah.
The people you surround yourself with, they can either help you grow
Mm-hmm.
or they can hold you back.
Especially when it comes to money.
Exactly. He's not saying to ditch your friends who are struggling financially,
Okay.
but be aware of their attitude towards money.
So like if they're always complaining about not having enough,
Yeah, or focusing on what's not possible.
big negativity.
It can really rub off on you.
So you're saying it's better to be around people who are positive about money,
Yes.
people who actually believe they can build wealth.
Yes, exactly. And Kiyosaki even suggests actively seeking out mentors.
Mentors.
Yeah, people who have already achieved what you're aiming for.
Okay.
People who can give you good advice and support you.
That actually reminds me of something else he talks about a lot.
With that.
Learning new skills.
Oh, yeah.
Like in areas like accounting, investing, even marketing.
He calls those the 4 pillars of financial intelligence. And he believes that they all work together to help you create wealth.
That makes a lot of sense.
He actually shares this story
Oh, yeah?
about how he learned to buy real estate with no money down,
Really?
just by taking a $385 course.
That's amazing.
Talk about a return on your investment.
Yeah, wow.
So he really believes in investing in your education.
But there's also the emotional side of money too, right?
Yeah.
Like how do you get over things like being afraid of losing money?
That's a big hurdle for a lot of people. Kiyosaki says it's okay to make mistakes. Losses are going to happen.
Okay.
He tells the story of the Alamo.
The Alamo.
Yeah, to remind us that even when you lose,
Mhm.
you can still learn something valuable.
So it's about being able to bounce back from those setbacks
Right.
and use those experiences to become a smarter investor.
Exactly. He talks about the Texans as an example.
Texans.
Yeah, he uses that term to describe people who aren't scared to go big,
Okay.
even if it means they might fail.
They're not afraid to take risks.
Right? They know that winning usually comes after losing a few times.
They don't let it get them down.
Exactly. And that's an attitude we can all learn from,
I like that a lot.
not letting setbacks crush you.
So how do you actually put all this into action?
Well,
Where do you even begin?
Kiyosaki encourages looking for bargains,
Okay.
anticipating changes in the market,
Mm-hmm.
making a lot of offers.
He's all about taking action.
Yeah, and he really stresses the importance of repetition,
Okay.
like consistently driving through neighborhoods.
To look for real estate deals.
Yeah, exactly. Or studying successful investors
Okay.
like Peter Lynch
Mm.
to understand how they do it.
So it's about being proactive,
Yes.
not just waiting for opportunities to magically appear.
Right. And when it comes to investing,
Mm-hmm.
he really emphasizes buying assets that create that cash flow.
Okay.
Things like businesses that don't need your constant attention.
Okay.
Stocks, bonds, real estate.
So it's about having a mix of different investments.
Yeah, diversifying your portfolio.
And making sure those investments match your interests and goals.
Exactly. And he also talks about finding those mentors.
Right. Learning from people who've already done it.
Yeah, surround yourself with people who are smarter than you.
Okay.
Always be looking for new knowledge and skills.
So it's like using the wisdom of successful people
Mm-hmm.
to help you on your own path.
Yeah. And he also talks about giving back.
Giving back.
Yeah, not just with money,
Okay.
but by sharing what you've learned with others.
That's really nice.
He thinks that being generous actually attracts more abundance.
Okay.
And that teaching others is one of the best ways to solidify your own understanding.
It's like a cycle.
Yeah,
Learning, applying, and then teaching.
exactly. A great way to keep growing and expanding your financial intelligence.
That's cool.
But what about that fear of losing money?
Yeah, that's hard to ignore.
It is a natural human emotion,
Mm-hmm.
but it shouldn't paralyze us.
Okay.
Kiyosaki, he actually tells a story about a friend of his
Oh.
who missed out on a really good real estate deal
What happened?
because he listened to his neighbor who was full of doubts
Oh, no.
instead of trusting his own judgment.
So it's a reminder to be careful about who you listen to.
Yes, especially when it comes to money.
So you're saying it's about trusting your gut?
In a way, yes,
Okay.
but it's also about being smart and managing the risk.
How do you do that?
Well, Kiyosaki talks about using stops when you're investing in the stock market.
Stops.
Yeah, they're like these preset orders
Okay.
that automatically sell your stock
Mm.
if the price drops below a certain point.
Oh, so it's like a safety net.
Exactly. It's there to protect you from those big losses.
That's interesting. So it's not about being reckless.
Wow.
It's more about putting safeguards in place.
Right. To minimize your losses.
I see.
And he also encourages learning about the things you're afraid of,
Okay.
whether it's through books or talking to experts
Mm.
or just by doing it and learning from your experiences.
Taking action.
Yeah, he tells this story about how he learned about tax lien certificates.
Yes, lien certificates.
Yeah.
I have no idea what those are.
He just went to the county tax office and talked to the people who work there.
Wow.
So knowledge is often right there in front of us.
We just have to look for it.
Exactly.
So it sounds like Kiyosaki's all about taking action,
yeah,
not letting fear just stop you.
definitely.
He even talks about turning $5,000
Uh-huh.
into like $1 million asset.
Wow.
That makes $5,000 every month.
He uses that story to show that anyone can do it,
Yeah. Anyone can build wealth.
if they've got the right knowledge and know-how.
And they apply it in a smart way.
Yeah,
It's inspiring,
it is.
but it also makes you think about something else he says.
What's that?
Teaching kids about money.
Oh, yeah, from a young age.
It makes me think about how differently Kiyosaki's two dads
Yeah.
approached money.
Right.
It really shows how learning about finances early on can shape how you think about money.
He's not saying to give kids all the answers,
Right.
but to help them think differently about money.
Okay.
Help them see that it's a tool
Mm-hmm.
that can be used to create opportunities.
And freedom.
Yeah, exactly.
So many of us grow up without that.
I know, right?
Without that foundation.
And it can take so long to unlearn those beliefs that hold us back.
It's like playing catch up to
Really.
adults.
And that's probably why Kiyosaki's book
Yeah.
connects with so many people.
Mhm.
It challenges what we think we know about money.
It's like a wake-up call,
Right.
and it offers a different way.
A path to developing what he calls your financial genius.
Right. And he lays out those 10 steps
Mm.
to help people find that potential.
Yeah.
We've talked about finding your why,
Uh-huh.
picking your friends carefully,
Right.
and finding mentors.
Finding mentors is huge.
What are some of the other big takeaways?
Well, he talks a lot about mastering new skills,
Okay.
especially in things like accounting,
Mm-hmm.
investing, marketing, and even law.
Wow, that's a lot.
He thinks those skills are super important,
Okay.
especially when you combine them.
So it's about really understanding how money works.
Yeah.
And having the tools to make it work for you.
Exactly. And it's not something that just happens.
Right.
It takes effort.
Action.
Yeah, even starting small
Just start.
and constantly learning.
So to wrap things up,
Yeah.
what's the biggest takeaway?
Mm.
What does Kiyosaki really want readers to get from his book?
Well, he ends the book with this really powerful question
Okay.
from Buckminster Fuller.
Okay.
If you stopped working today, how long could you survive?
Wow. That's a tough one.
It is.
Makes you really think,
It challenges you to consider your financial security.
right? Are we really on the right track?
Are we set up for the long term?
It's not just about what's in your bank account right now
Right. It's about having systems in place
to keep things going
that can support you.
for the long haul.
Exactly. And it comes back to building those assets
Mhm.
that work for you.
Yeah.
even when you're not.
Even while you're sleeping.
Yeah. It's about designing a life
Okay.
where you're not trading time for money
But using your financial smarts
to create real wealth.
and freedom.
Yes, freedom.
We hope this deep dive into Rich Dad, Poor Dad has given you some things to think about
Yeah, some new ideas.
and maybe inspired you to take charge of your finances.
Take control.
It's a book that can really get people talking.
Yeah, definitely.
And we encourage you to share what you've learned.
And keep learning.
Keep exploring these ideas.
Financial literacy is a journey.
It is.
It's never too late to start.